What's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 2 of the Pat and Dan Show. I'm Pat. That's Dan. Dan, how are we doing today?
Dude, we're doing, I think, very well, right?
I
Can't be
can't
doing
complain,
bad.
bro.
You can't be doing bad.
No, if anybody's doing bad today, like they have
Then they're
kind of
not a real
serious
Yankee fan.
problems. No, like they should probably see somebody to talk to. Kind of like how Twitter suggested you do. But before we get into anything today, shout out to everybody currently in the chat. Let's take a 10-slash roll call. You guys know the deal. Let's see who we got in here. Let's start things out from. We got Michael Caputo. We got Yo Elvis, Alfonso. Who else we got? We got Matt, Jesse Dominguez. Who else? Not So Family Fun Vision, Christian, Dirtbike Nation, Daniel, Lori, JT, Tano. Appreciate everybody for stopping by. You guys know
I thought
the
you
deal.
were calling me Daniel for a second, bro, because fun fact, you may not even know this, bro, and we're tight. Like, you're my best friend. You know, on my birth certificate, it just is Dan. Like, it's not
No,
Daniel.
I know. No, I've asked you that before. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
We went through
Because
this.
a lot of people think that's weird.
Yeah. But listen, Dan, I told you this before. We have a lot of fun things to talk about, and it's a completely different narrative than what I kind of suggested to you before the game started, right? Because before the game, we kind of like hopped on a call. I'm like, Dan, like, what do you want to talk about? I was like, maybe we could focus it around like Aaron Judge's struggles. Clearly, that's not a topic of discussion anymore. The Yankees came out in a blast today. And honestly, you kind of love to see them taking this series against the Royals, right? Because coming into it, we kind of mentioned how important it was to at least take 2 out of 3 because you want that momentum going into the Boston series. And I think they did just that, right? At some point last night, we were kind of looking at this series as being a total failure. We were potentially looking at a sweep, right? And all of a sudden, this team kind of did a complete 180, great comeback win last night, and kind of just a very pleasing, dominating win today, right?
Yeah, for sure, bro. Like, this series went from, like talk about a total flip of the narrative, bro, from, like 9:30, whatever it was, 10 o'clock last night, bro. Like, I was honestly getting to the point where, because I'm Mr. Optimistic like usual, if we lost that game last night, bro, like, it would have been hard after that to keep, like, kind of, like, not forcing the optimism, but, like, I would kind of have to accept, like, yo, like, this isn't looking good, because the story of the season has been 2 steps forward, 2 steps back, or whatever the saying is. So, I mean, Gary Sanchez hitting that home run, like, you could honestly make the case that saved the season, because, bro, if we were going into Fenway, just lost 2 out of 3 to the Royals, and you never know, with the way baseball works and momentum, we lose last night, we could have lost today, you know? Yeah. So, I mean, going from thinking that we're losing a series against one of the not-so-good teams in the American League to winning that game last night in dramatic fashion, and then a relaxing victory that we very, very rarely have this season, like a blowout. Not that it's like too big of a blowout, but that was a fun game today, and I think we're all kind of riding high.
No, bro, 1,000%. And I think we talk about this all the time, right? We talked about this when the Yankees kind of were on that big slide for a while. We mentioned how the Yankees have individual players who are performing at a good level, right? However, it didn't seem like that they were clicking as a unit just yet. However, I think today was a prime example of the Yankees just clicking as a unit, right? You look at the top 6 guys in the order, for example, right? DJ went 1 for 4. Judge went 3 for 3, 2 walks, 2 RBIs. Gary, we all know what Gary did today. He's just absolutely raking. Stan went 3 for 5. Voit with the home run. Odor went 3 for 4. And then obviously the bottom of the order is kind of brutal. But I mean, like just saying that, you kind of understand like how important it is that this lineup's kind of coming together as a unit. And this is what we were waiting for, right? We've been waiting on Judge and Gary to get hot at the same time. And now, I'm not trying to jinx anything because jinxes aren't real. But we could potentially be seeing Gary, Stanton, and Judge all getting hot at the same time.
Yeah, bro. Like, literally everything came together today perfectly. And not just, like, the offense, which, bro, like, I'm looking at the box score right now. Like, it didn't even process me that Stanton had 3 hits today.
I know.
And, like, looking back, like, I know he did, but that's insane. And, bro, like, flip to the pitching end of things. How about Jameson Taillon? 6 1/3 innings. Like, this, you'd say this is his best start as a Yankee, no? 6 1/3 innings, 5 hits. 1 run, 6 Ks. Now, we know he's much better off at home, but, I mean, still, like, and I think I alluded to this in the last episode or the time I came on prior to that, like, if we need to, bro, I'm not, like, disgusted by the idea of starting James Taillon at home in a playoff game, if we need to. Like, it's not the worst thing in the world. So, I mean, if we need to, you know, which, I mean, hopefully we don't, but, like, bro, like, it's hard to not feel good as a Yankee fan right now, just by looking at this box score right now, and especially with Judge. We talked about it last week or in the last episode, like, with Gary Sanchez playing so well and kind of carrying the Yankees offense, what's it going to look like when Judge starts to get hot? Now, it is just 1 game, and you could say it's 2 games because he had a good game in the first game against Kansas City. So, I mean, if he's going to get hot, and he really did look good today, and can I talk about Judge's struggles real quick?
Sure, yeah, go for it.
I was thinking about it going into today, and, like, you know how, like, a big thing with Judge this season has been he's a little bit more aggressive. He's swinging on the first pitch a lot more. Well, it seemed like lately over the past like week or so, he'd been like kind of in between on that, right? Like he'd been swinging at first pitches still, but like they would be like he'd be expanding the zone. Like it could be a curveball 2 feet outside. It seemed like he was swinging at it. And then what would happen is that would probably, the way I see it, like that was in his head. And then all of a sudden he's taking pitches right down the middle on first pitch. So I feel like his approach was very inconsistent. But I mean, today, like, bro, he reached base 5 times. He was a triple away from the cycle, which did you see? There hasn't been one triple yet. Not one triple, one cycle yet so far in baseball.
Yeah. Which is weird.
Yeah.
And many no hitters. So
I know, right? Yeah. I guess that makes sense. Yeah. But I mean, 3 for 3, bro. 2 walks. Can I just read you off his slash line real quick while we're on the topic of it? So going into today, Judge's on base was 373. His slugging actually fell below 500. If you didn't know that, it was 493 going into today. So right now, after today, Judge is hitting 286 with a 384 on base, slugging 514. That's an 898 OPS, 16 homers, and a 147 weighted runs created plus. And the last part I want to mention, bro, how nice does this sound? 70 games played. He now has 70 games played on the season. That's the most
important thing. That out of all those numbers you just listed, I think the games played is the most important for Aaron Judge. Simply because we said going into this year, as long as Aaron Judge stays healthy, we know he's going to put up good numbers. Now, the only thing that I'm a little bit interested in right now is like whether or not he even hits 40 home runs, which is going to be interesting. I think he might, depending on whether or not he goes on like that Judge type home run stretch, but we need to see that first before we can kind of make that assumption.
Yeah, so this is another thing I was thinking about. I want him to, in Dan's little ideal world, he gets to 20 home runs before the All-Star break, which if he hit one, he hit one today, so he's at 16. He needs 4 more in probably 10, 15 games
about
left, you figure, whatever it is. So say he gets to 20. Like we said in the last episode, he hasn't gotten to that Judge home run tear yet. So if he does have that, I think it's quite possible he'll hit like at least 20, hopefully 20 in the second half, So I'm still backing on him hitting 40 home runs. 50 home runs, that would take like one crazy month where he hits 20 in a month.
That would be unreal.
I honestly do. Like, I would actually probably put money on that'll hit over 40 home runs, like just over, maybe like 41 homers. 100 RBIs. That's not that I really care about that. That's out of reach now. Not even really his fault, just because for a good portion of the season he wasn't coming up with runners on base. He probably won't even have 50 before the break. But we don't really pay too much attention to that. So.
Let's take a look at some of these donos that we got. Shout out to you, Elvis, with the $5 dono. Appreciate you, Elvis. He says, just imagine when our best hitter starts hitting in Gardner. No, seriously, we need to get another bat and we should be fine. Dan, kind of based on the discussion that we had on Monday, has Brett Gardner gotten a hit since then?
I don't think so. And he came up in a huge spot too. Was it yesterday's game or no? 2 days ago when they lost.
Past couple games. I mean, today he came up with the bases loaded. I think 1 out. And he popped out.
When we're winning though, like this is like I think this is why I'm like so optimistic. Usually it's like when things are going well, like I don't even see like the negative point of things.
No,
like, I don't even remember Brett Gardner coming up in a big spot and not coming through. But like if we lost today, bro, like I'd be like wanting him crucified,
No, but like this isn't even a debate anymore. Like the Yankees obviously need another bat. I think right now if you look at the lineup, the position that clearly needs the replacement is center field. It's as simple as that. But I guess we'll just have to see if the Yankees actually do that. I have no idea if they actually do. But listen, shout out to Leanna with the $2 dono. Appreciate you, Leanna. I believe she's going with like the Didi Gregorius thing here, right? I see like the Machine, the Kraken, Judge. Who's the Volcano? Voit, I guess.
Her last name, but that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, right?
One more thing on the in terms of the offense clicking. How about Rugi, bro? I feel like every time I tweet that I want him DFA'd, which by the way, I still don't want him in the Yankees starting second baseman. That's
Neither do I.
People, bro, I cannot stand.
No one should.
But the people like with the little like gotcha moments, bro, where like you could say you don't like a player and they're not good, and then all of a sudden like they have a hard hit single up the middle, and it's like, how dare you talk bad about him? Like, listen, Odor, he had a really good game, a very very good game. He had a good game today too. He had like 3 hits. But still, I don't all of a sudden think Odor is going to be like the Yankees. Should be the Yankees starting second baseman come postseason time. But that was a big home run.
And those whole like gotcha moments, right? Yesterday on the Yankees lineup tweet, I kind of made a reply tweet. I'm like, can you guys please stop putting Rougned Odor in the lineup? And someone replied to me like after he hit the home run, they're like, well, how do you feel about that now? I still stand by that, bro.
Exactly,
he doesn't belong in the lineup.
Like just because like what you wanted to happen like didn't happen and it didn't work out. If it did happen, like that doesn't mean you were wrong by any means, And they always like when I talk about like Clint Frazier, for example, right? I'll be like, Clint Frazier, my famous tweet last week was that he's officially a bust as a Yankee, which I firmly believe at this point. He gets like one big hit, which he did the other day. He had a 2-run double, and then everybody's like, tagging old takes exposed under my tweet. Like I thought I was a problem with recency bias, but bro, like take a chill pill. Like at least give me a week of Clint Frazier hitting well before you start tagging old takes exposed.
No, it's crazy because like you kind of look at those gotcha moments, and I think the only guy you could currently do that with is Gary Sanchez, bro.
Yeah.
If anybody was it was talking trash about Gary Sanchez like last month or so, being like, oh, like gotta bench him, DFA him, something, you could expose those people because now Gary Sanchez is at such a sample size. I have a video coming out about this, like on the channel tomorrow at 12 p.m. How Gary Sanchez has a very strong argument right now to be called the Yankees' best hitter. Easily, bro. You look at the numbers that he's put up over the past month or so, and there's not one guy in that lineup that I would want up in a position right now other than Gary Sanchez. And we talked about this kind of on Monday, even before like this ridiculous stretch he went on against the Royals. He's been top the Yankees leader in what weighted runs created plus, right? So I mean, bro,
and basically everything else
only
too.
Improved. Yeah, definitely only improved from that point on. But I think what Gary has just kind of shown is he still has that in him, right? 2016, he was easily the Yankees' best hitter. So I think once again, you could make a strong argument that right now, currently, Gary Sanchez is the Yankees' best hitter.
I mean, there's different ways that you could mean that, so I want to try to get it out of you the way like I think you actually mean it. I'm not sure. So kind of going back to the whole Brett Gardner best hitter since June that we had the other day, that conversation. Yeah. Is that what you're saying about Gary? That like since beginning of June or whatever time he started getting really hot, he's been the Yankees' best hitter?
I'm saying yes, he's been the Yankee. He's currently the Yankees' best hitter.
Currently, as in like their hottest hitter, because their best hitter it is Aaron Judge.
No,
I don't think that's what you mean. That's not.
No, that's not what I mean. I don't mean like I don't mean like as a whole moving forward, like moving into the future. I think Gary Sanchez is the better player than Aaron.
Right now,
no.
like.
Yes. What I'm saying is like it's like a 2019 DJ LeMahieu thing, right? Who do you want up in the biggest spot? DJ LeMahieu with a run scoring position or Gleyber Torres? Like, you know what I mean?
So is it kind of like same deal as like first week in May, Giancarlo Stanton from this year?
Yes. 1,000%.
Got you.
Like you can make the argument in the beginning of May, Giancarlo Stanton was the best hitter in the Yankees lineup. And right now you could make the argument that Gary Sanchez easily.
I agree with you. The way I would phrase it is just I think he's the hottest hitter, but I know what you mean. Like you're not wrong in saying that. Yeah, he's been insane, bro. And that home run today, bro. Like I love when he pulls a homer, bro, and it's a no doubt. Like that homer last night was dope. Like off the bat, it was hard enough. I didn't know if that was gonna carry all the way or like, be high enough to get out. But like, bro, that homer today, like right off the bat, like the pitcher too, he knew Anthony Swarzak, like that was an absolute bomb.
Yankee
bro.
legend, by the way.
Yeah, bro. I feel bad because Plouffe, I'm pretty sure, is cool with him, but like he just has one of those faces I just want to punch. Don't tell him I said that, but
no one's gonna tell him.
But anyways, one more thing. 3-run home runs, bro. I feel like we haven't seen them that much this year.
I know.
Like, aren't they so
no one's ever
rare?
On base.
True. That's it. Yeah.
That's exactly why, bro.
I feel like it's just like this is definitely not right, but I feel like I can remember like less than 5 this year. I mean, that's definitely not true.
Right.
There's more. I'm sure.
You might be right.
That's insane.
If someone in the chat could pull up that stat, let me know.
Yeah.
But kind of like touching on Gary Sanchez still. I know like I talk about this a lot in the video that's coming out tomorrow, but I think that, bro, it's actually crazy to see just the renaissance of Gary Sanchez, right? That's kind of like the only way to describe it because Dan, you remember watching Gary Sanchez in 2016, even at parts in 2017 too. When was that ridiculous month he had in 2017? Was it June, August, right?
Yeah.
I never thought that we would see that Gary Sanchez again. Okay, and that's kind of why I am pushing that narrative that he's currently the Yankees' best hitter. Because, bro, I never thought we'd see this guy again. You could say that he's carrying the Yankees offense right now. And I never thought there would be another day where I could say Gary Sanchez is carrying the Yankees lineup. I feel like that we're in 4 years ago, bro. You watch Gary Sanchez at the plate and the confidence is there. The plate approach is there. The discipline is there. This is a much different Gary Sanchez than we even saw in 2019 when he had a pretty decent year and he went on
a very good year in 2019. But
bro, it was a good year, but this is a much different Gary.
I agree a lot with what you're saying, like at the end there, like his approach, like the way he looks at the plate, like his ability to go opposite field, like that has impressed me and quite frankly surprised me after like the abysmal 2020 season he had last year. Because I always figured that like if you give Gary consistent playing time, he will run into some sort of a hot streak. Now, whether that's just hitting home runs while we're down by 10 runs or, something like that I always figured he would get because he simply is too good of a hitter and he'll run into some pitches, some mistakes that he'll take deep. But like, bro, like the approach that he has at the plate right now, like this, honestly, right now at this point in 2021, this is definitely the best that he's looked since I'm going to go past 2019, obviously past 2018, like I guess, probably since that August of 2017 stretch.
4 years
and
ago.
Honestly, bro, like maybe even back to 2016 because like I don't like remember like, exactly how good he was. I know he had put up insane numbers. I think he had like 12 homers in August, but just like stats aside is what I'm saying. Like the approach, like the way he actually looks at the plate, like the confidence, it's insane.
Yep. But listen, we have a major shout out here. Shout out to Julio Ferreira with a $50
Holy
super chat.
crap, bro.
Shout out to Julio. Let me get a hashtag Julio the legend in the chat.
Julio, bro.
What
Thank you, man. Hell
Julio,
yeah, yo.
I give you a salute, brother.
Pat, we may have to go on a date
Bro.
tonight because of that.
No, Dan, do you remember when we did the
bagel
post game
thing with
and
the
people kept
bagels.
donating? They're like, "Yo, Dan needs strawberry cream cheese. He needs
Let me-
home fries now."
We never even confirmed this. Pat, he did live up to his word. He bought me a bagel the next day,
I
and
did.
it was a damn good bagel too.
No, and also like that next day, I told Dan, I'm like, Dan, you could get anything you want, and only one was like a bagel with cream
I'm not a
cheese.
huge breakfast eater. Like I don't like to get
love
like I hate the
breakfast.
feeling of feeling full, especially like early in the morning. But a bagel will do it.
But listen, once again, shout out to Julio Ferreira. You guys
You're the
give
man,
him
bro.
give him some appreciation in the chat. Say Julio the legend. I see a bunch of people saying
We
Julio
appreciate
the
you, bro,
legend.
for real. Hell
Genuinely appreciate you. But Dan, kind of, I think we touched a lot on Gary Sanchez, right? And I think it's just crazy because I mentioned this like almost every night on the post game. Just when we thought Gary Sanchez couldn't improve, he continues to improve. It's actually crazy. And the only thing I'm so curious about is it seems like his approach isn't much different besides kind of not completely abandoning that high leg kick, but almost abandoning it and kind of going back to that 2016 approach that we mentioned on Monday, I believe we did, where we were kind of like, sometimes he's toe tap Gary, sometimes he's a little bit of a stride Gary, sometimes he's low leg kick Gary. And I think those adjustments have been the key to his success. And I don't know what's taken so long to make those.
I feel like it's just like as each day goes by, like he ditches that leg kick more and more. Like I feel like every time I look up and I'm watching him, it's just like it's like he lifts his knee up high, but it's like a I don't know what the word is, but just like it's very like it's not a leg kick, it's like a minimal. You've seen it, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
like,
no, I know exactly.
He's I think not completely ditched the leg kick, but like almost more than he ever has this leg kick he has this year. Somebody just brought up the stats from the last 30 games, bro. Do you see this? Ruben Cruz, Gary, the last 30 days, 315 average.
That's $2, by the way.
Oh, my man. 315 average, 390 on base, 685 slugging. That is insane. And while we're here, I have his season stats, bro. Like, it's insane. So he's hitting 242, which for a catcher and for Gary Sanchez, especially after last year, like that's good. That's really good. But, bro, just look at the on base and the slugging. We have a catcher that 3 months into the season now has a 346 on base and is slugging 505, bro. That is ridiculously good, not even just for a catcher, but just in general. And his weighted runs created plus is 131. That's really good. Really good.
Bro, it's actually stupid. Like looking at these numbers, and it's also like shameful that Gary Sanchez is not leading the American League All-Star vote when it comes to catchers right now. Martin Maldonado is batting like 150, and I think he's in third place. That's a topic for another day. Before we kind of move on to topics here, I want to say one more thing about Gary Sanchez. I think that this is only the beginning. This might be like a real hot take. I think this is only the beginning of the Gary resurgence. I understand like he's putting up ridiculous numbers right now, but I truly think that we're not going to see Gary get back to that 2020 pace at all this season. Obviously, he's going to slow down a little bit, right? Just because that's who Gary is. He goes on these hot streaks and then goes through cold streaks. But I think at the end of the year this year, we're going to look at Gary Sanchez's stats as a whole, and he's probably going to finish with like a 230 batting average and 30 home runs. And we're going to look back at the season and say, damn, maybe Gary deserves a contract extension, referring back to what we were talking about a few weeks ago.
That is interesting to think about, bro, the contract extension, because I think it's both him and Judge. I know Judge is, but after next year, is Gary up too? I'm pretty sure. After 17, or after 17, what am I saying? After 22? 2022? He's done.
I think so.
I wonder if they would extend him. You know, I mean, he's going to have to finish strong, you know, and I still feel like they might wait a little bit, because, I mean, you could always give him an extension halfway through next season, which I'm not sure who his agent is. He may want to hold off till the offseason for that, but, like, bro, like, I would 100% before signing Gary Sanchez to like a long-term extension. But like if he's this confident in himself that he's going to be this kind of hitter for like years to come, he may want to wait till free agency. Because if he puts up these kind of numbers next year, bro, like we're talking like, bro, like he would get, I think, more than JT, no? Like with the offensive numbers. I mean, the defense would come into play, you know, if he I feel like if he keeps putting up like slightly below average defense, like people aren't really going to care about it that much with how good his offense is. So I think he'll at least be making over 100 mil.
Yeah, pretty similar. Andrew Allen with the $3 dono. Appreciate you, Andrew Allen, the absolute GOAT. He says, love the show, boys. Predictions for Boston. Let's jump into the Boston series, because that's kind of like the topic of the show here.
Everybody's pointing out how I say bro. I see on the side here. I do say bro a lot.
Bro, I think we both do. But I don't care.
Now. You just said it.
Yeah, and I think that we need to say it a little bit more often, just because if it gets to people,
bro.
Keep it moving, bro. But let's see. Predictions for Boston. This is kind of like the kind of like the topic I want to go with here, just because we mentioned earlier on how the Yankees taking 2 out of 3 from Kansas City was so important, especially going into this Boston series, that we can make the argument of, I know I've said this so many times this season, arguably one of the biggest seasons of the year, right? You're going
Right
up against
now,
the Red Sox.
it is
Yes.
the biggest season of the year.
Currently,
100%.
yes, for sure. And I think I have high hopes for the Yankees. I'm cautiously optimistic. Now, obviously, we've seen this team kind of have such high highs and low lows so far this season, right? And it comes so drastically, right? It changes per series. They kind of go into Minnesota and win 2 out of 3, and then they go to Philly and lose 2 out of 2. So I think going into Boston, though, I'm very cautiously optimistic. I think the pitching matchups are in their favor, simply because you don't have to see Jameson Taillon pitch on the road in Boston. We're going to get to see Garrett Cole. I believe the pitching matchups are going to be Monty, Herman, Cole.
Monty, Cole.
Monty,
Yeah,
Cole.
Herman's in game 1.
Those are the 3 guys I would want in that series. So
100%.
right now, if I had to make predictions for the Boston series, Dan, which is crucial, I think the Yankees are taking 2 out of 3.
I'd like to think the same. I'm not sure who Boston is throwing out there, but none of their pitchers really are that great anyways. I feel like we're going to win tomorrow. If there's a game that we might lose, I think it would be Saturday, and then you just got to hope Cole shows up on Sunday. So if I had to put money on, I would say we're taking 2 out of 3, but it's really just going to come down to, does this offense, keep up what they did against Kansas City? And like I just said, like, Boston's pitching is not too insane. I don't know how their bullpen is, but like, people might say, like, because when I say today, like I posted on Yankees Avenue, like, is anybody else getting really excited about how this offense is looking and performing? And a lot of people are like, oh, well, it's against Kansas City. Let's see how they do against Boston. I don't have the numbers, but like, Boston's pitching can't be like that much better than Kansas City's. Like, it's their offense that carries them as a team. So like, there's no pitcher they have that I'm afraid of, that I think like, Gary, Judge, Stanton, all our big guys aren't going to be able to hit. So if they do hit, like, I think taking 2 out of 3 is probably the most likely scenario. And hey, maybe we'll sweep.
Bro, it's possible, right? Because I'm looking at the pitching matchups right now. Tomorrow night is Herman versus Martin Perez, which I think is a winnable matchup. And then Saturday is going to be Montgomery versus Eovaldi, which I think he's kind of going
an okay year, right?
Yeah, he's having a pretty. Yeah, I feel like he pitches well against the Yankees too. So I think they lose that middle game, but I think Sunday is one of those games where it's like, where we always say, like, it's the closest thing you could get to a guaranteed win, right? Eduardo Rodriguez, who struggled significantly this year, is going up against Garrett Cole. Garrett Cole is going to be on his A game, bro. When Garrett Cole has, like, these huge matchups, especially, has Garrett Cole pitched at Fenway Park yet?
Not yet, no.
No, I can't remember him doing so.
He didn't pitch in that final series to end the year last year, right?
I don't think so.
I don't think so. No, I don't
not
think
as a Yankee. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, of course,
yeah.
Bro, how I didn't realize how bad Erod is doing. His ERA is over 6. And another thing too, how the hell is the Sunday game not on Sunday Night Baseball?
I was wondering the same thing.
I don't even care that much because I prefer yes, but like I like the prime time feel of like I like how it's like a night game. Bro, they're going with, like, not that this is a bad matchup, but they're going with Cubs Dodgers over Yankees Red Sox for the first time in Fenway that night.
So you know what I think? I was looking at the schedule like last week, and I think the only reasoning that I could come up with is the Yankees are on the following week, and they don't want to do Yankees 2 weeks in a row. But then again, I think the Cardinals were just on 2 weeks in a row.
And no, I was going to say, like, unless they're changing things up this year, like, people have complained about that in the past. Like, the Yankees many times have been on Sunday Night Baseball multiple weeks in a row because they're the Yankees, bro. And like, it's the Red Sox, like, it's just Yankees Red Sox should be on Sunday Night Baseball. I mean, it's not a tragedy. It's just like, I rather like the series finale of what's going to probably be a really fun series. I'd rather it be a primetime night game than a 1:00 afternoon game.
No, yeah, for sure. And I think what kind of goes to show how ludicrous it is. You even had Michael Kay asking today, like, why would ESPN not pick up that game? Like, and like, he wants to commentate that game too, but at the same time, he's a little bit confused why ESPN didn't want it. Mm-hmm. But I think, Dan, I'm really excited for this Boston series simply because I think it goes so beyond just wins at this point. I think the Yankees need to send a message to not only the Boston Red Sox, but the rest of the American League East as well, right? I think it's a whole mentality thing. I don't want, like, the Yankees to fall into a trap at the Red Sox like they did with the Rays and have the Red Sox just straight up owning us for the rest of the season. Did we win any of the games when Boston came to New York? Did we get swept?
We got swept.
We did get swept. So, I mean, this is crucial in the sense of if Boston even wins 2 out of 3 in this series, they have that mentality moving forward that they own this New York Yankees team, and you can't let them feel that way. So you have to at least take 2 out of 3.
For sure, yeah. And, like, I don't think getting swept is on the table. It's like, I mean, I know they're 8-7 in the games Cole pitches this year, but like when you know good Cole is slotted to face or slotted to pitch one of the 3 games, you figure you're gonna hopefully win that game, especially with Erod going. And like we just said before, I think we're gonna win Friday tomorrow with Herman on the mound, and then if there's a game we're gonna lose, it'll probably be against Evaldi. So
Yeah,
I obviously want to sweep, but give me 2 out of 3, and that makes a statement, bro. Like even more, like that's what's even more important than just like gaining a game in the standings. You know, like win the series against Boston. That shows you're legit. That shows you're back. And a common like joke, like half joke that I always make is that the Yankees are back. Legitimately though, if they win that series against Boston and like God forbid for Boston, if the Yankees sweep, then it's like, bro, like all eyes are on the Yankees. Is like I think that's when you can start talking again. Like the Yankees might actually all of a sudden once again be the favorite to come out of the American League to go to the World Series. You know, and we're talking before the trade deadline stuff, and I'm still banking on that they're going to get like an outfielder or somebody at the trade deadline. So, bro, we'll be feeling really good as Yankee fans if they win the series against Boston, and then it's actually a really quick like, little road trip, just Boston, then we come back to the stadium.
yeah.
And then I think we have like a little West Coast trip too, but basically,
I love the West Coast games.
Me too. Win the series against Boston. That's obviously huge. Finish the first half strong, and then, bro, going into the break, Yankee fans, we're feeling really good, riding high of a couple three. By that point, it'll be 2-3 weeks of playing good baseball. Got the trade deadline coming up, which hopefully we're going to do something with, and I think we might be the favorite again.
Yeah, I mean the Yankees have a bunch of really fun series coming up. You kind of look
Houston
at
too. We're in Houston in a couple weeks.
Yeah, you look at this Boston series, and then they have the Angels, and then the Mets, and then Houston. They have a bunch of really big series coming up, so it's going to be interesting to see how they handle it. Because, like we said, the Yankees usually play up to their competition. But let's take a look at some of these donos that we got. Ruben Cruz with the $2 dono. Appreciate you, Ruben. He says 230. This is referring to what I said about Gary Sanchez. 230. Please no, he has to finish at least 250. I don't really see Gary Sanchez being like a 250 hitter. When I say 230, that's like my minimum. I'd be satisfied with that. You tell me Gary Sanchez going into this year, bro. You tell me Gary Sanchez hit 230 with 30 home runs. Would you not be satisfied with that?
Dude, 100%. I really couldn't care less like what his average is. I mean, right now Gary has an on base over 340. If he could, I mean, this wouldn't happen with like the math, but like he could hit 210. If he has an on base over 340, I really couldn't care less.
Oh, same.
He's on pace. He's probably going to hit close to 30 home runs, or maybe a little bit more than 30 home runs. So I mean, I wouldn't worry about the batting average, especially like, bro, go take a look. Go to Fangraphs, go to MLB.com, whatever. Take a look at what other catchers around the league are hitting. I mean, we bring up Martin Maldonado, how he's third in the All-Star game voting right now, and he's hitting what, like 180, Pat? He has an OPS below 600. Like, I know. And honestly, I'm not stressing that stuff at all anymore, like with the All-Star, because Gary's getting in. 100% he's getting in. They're going to, because
the final vote too.
Yeah, that stuff. Yeah. And like, I think somebody told me today the reserves are picked by coaches. I'm not sure if that's true. So, dude, 100% Gary's getting in. So I don't think people. I like how people are, getting rallying behind Gary, trying to get him voted in. But even if he's not, he's getting into the All-Star game, and it's dope because he 100% deserves to be.
I agree. Listen, also shout out to Michael Burrito with the $2 dono. Appreciate you, Michael. He says we need Starling Marte. See it, Guardy. We will go on a run. I think.
Guardy won't go on. He'll be regulated back.
He'll be on the bench.
He'll be the fourth outfielder, which I
think is a good spot for him.
That's fine. Like, yes. Exactly. Like Guardy as the fourth outfielder, and we've been stressing this for weeks, months now. Like Guardy, that's what
years
for you. Yeah. Guardy's meant to be a fourth outfielder, and I feel like a broken record. I keep talking about this. Like I do think the Yankees are going to get starting a center fielder or who. I don't even. It doesn't even have to be a center fielder. Really. I mean, like I'm totally fine with have Judge play. Judge clearly plays a good center field, and injuries don't seem to really be a problem with him right now. Run Judge out in center field for the next half a season. You can get yourself a corner outfielder. I don't care. That's fine. Just go get yourself a starting outfielder, regardless of where he's going to play. That's better than Brett Gardner, and put Brett Gardner back on the bench.
Well, you know what I think that they should do? I think the Yankees have about a month to play around with now before the trade deadline. A little bit. I
got an ultimatum that I want to give you when you're ready.
All right. So like basically what I'm saying is the Yankees have about a month. I think what they can do in the time being, you call up someone from the minor leagues, right? You call up a Trey Ambergy, you call up a Hoy-Jun Park, see what they could do in the outfield. Bro, if one of these guys comes up and they start hitting 350 and they're just like taking the team by storm and they're injecting so much life into this lineup, you keep them. I'm sorry. And then you don't acquire a legitimate outfielder. You keep whoever you call up, whether it be Park or Ambergy, if they're raking, and you use the assets that you would use to acquire an outfielder, and you acquire a starting pitcher.
Sure. But let me say this. I say Ambergy comes up and he performs well, right?
Sure.
I'm totally cool. If like he looks legit and like you think he may actually, be a valuable piece to keep around, go ahead and keep starting him. Have him play left field. I would still like want to get an outfielder, right? Because think about it. I mean, right now, if we say we get our center fielder, right? Judge in right field, new center fielder in center. Playing left, is that still Clint or Andujar? Like at this point, I feel like we kind of brought up the conversation. This is going to lead me into the ultimatum I was going to give you. We get our center fielder, right? Who exactly would you want to get the playing time in left field? And let's say Stan out of it for now, because I don't think Stan's going to be the everyday left fielder. It's Gardy or Clint or Andujar too, you know? No. So, I mean, like, just take them all three in one pool, right? Gardy, Clint, Andujar in left field. Are you comfortable with that?
Dan, like you bring up a really good point here, right? Because when we've had this discussion, like in weeks past, we kind of just were under the assumption that like Miguel Andujar, like kind of just earned his spot out there. He's kind of been slumping as of late.
He has been a lot.
In case people haven't noticed,
kind at this point, like the last 2 weeks, like he has not been good.
He's cooled off a lot, and also his defense is not good. I can't, bro. I just can't really picture that in the postseason. So now we're kind of looking at the point where I think you kind of can call up like a Trey Ambergy to give him a shot in left field and then also acquire someone else to be the starting center fielder. I think you could get the best of both worlds in that scenario.
That's what
you
I'd
could
rather
call
have.
someone up and then trade for someone to play center. But I can't see the Yankees doing it. I don't know.
Now, let me say this.
Giving up on all three of those guys, you really think they're going to?
I think they're getting closer and closer to giving up on Clint, you know, and I don't think even when he was playing well, I don't think they looked at him
Clint would go in the trade and Andujar would have to be sent down.
Sure.
That's what would have to happen.
But Clint, listen, if we're getting like Marte, whoever, like Clint, he ain't the piece that's going to lead that package though. Like his value has diminished to the point where like he's
still be a top piece in a package.
Not a top. He's a piece I think that could close the deal maybe, you know, and like a significant piece in that sense. But like, listen, back to what I was going to say is say we get our center fielder playing left field, put Ambergy, how do you say Ambergy? Ambergy, put him aside. In left field, honestly, y'all, and especially if our offense is going to start clicking, I'm cool having Brett Gardner be the starting left fielder. And I'll tell you what, bro. What?
Whoa.
You see what Plouffe just did, bro?
Shout out to Trevor Plouffe with the $20 dono. Appreciate you, Trevor.
Plouffe is the man. Do not let me spend it on alcohol, bro. Plouffe's the reason why I got that left shoulder injury. Yeah, Plouffe, you're the man, bro. Thank you for real, bro. Appreciate you.
Genuinely appreciate you, Plouffe.
But what I'm saying is, like, if the offense is clicking, and it seems like they are, I think we can afford to have Gardy bat ninth, play left fielder, even play center, put Marte in left, just for like the defensive aspect of it, you know? Because I mean, say we don't do that in the regular season, come postseason, bro, you know Brett Gardner's going to get time just for the defensive purposes, you know? Like, do you really want to like say a decisive game 5 or a decisive game 7, like a wild card game? Bro, not only would I rather have Gardy in there for the last 3 innings, I'd rather just start him in left over Clint or Andujar. Just for defensive purposes, you know?
No, same. Bro. Like,
especially when our team already isn't a good defensive team.
I'm 100% on board with that. Like, if we go into a postseason with, like, either Clint Frazier or Miguel Andujar as a starting left fielder, I'm all on board with, like, bringing in Brett Gardner in the 7th inning for a defensive replacement. I'm on board with that. Like, don't get me wrong.
And that's what's going to happen. I mean, 100%. Like, Gardy, that's why, like, some people say, oh, just release Gardy or DFA. I'm like, there's no shot they would do that. 1, out of the loyalty aspect. And 2, like,
which is
Gardner,
weird.
I can't stress this enough.
I'm sorry.
Well, the thing is, I can't stress this enough. Like, Gardy, he does provide value as a fourth outfielder. You know, I mean, when you look at a fourth outfielder, like, unless you're looking at him as like unless you want to get a guy that's like a platoon off the bench for like a power spot, Gardy, bro, like, he would do everything you need him to do, provide defensive value.
Dan, like, I hate to kind of like go on this discussion again, but I feel like every time we always say like we would like Brett Gardner as a fourth outfielder, Brett Gardner will never be a fourth outfielder as long as he's a part of the Yankees organization. It's just not happening. Even if the Yankees do kind of acquire somewhere else, they're always going to find a way to put him in the lineup at least 3 to 4 days a week.
No, because the thing is that we've had players that have like provided Gardner an opportunity to play, you know, like,
but Dan,
no, let me finish this. I'll give you the one thing. Gardy starting over Clint those 2 games at the beginning of the season, that was whack. That was ridiculous.
Shameful.
Right? That was horrible. And I was pissed about that too. But at this point, yo, like somebody could like make the argument that, not make the argument, but like it's not as blasphemous nowadays for Gardy to start over Clinton and Andujar with the way they played, right? But say we do get like
they're on like the same level.
Sure, but that's what I'm saying. So like it's a fair playing field. Say we get like a legitimate starting outfielder, like they're assuming he's good, and if it's like one of the Martes he is, Gardy won't be able to start over them because they're going to be better than Gardy, right? Like every player that Gardy has like started over, really just Clint, like this year, like Clint hasn't provided a case to make you think that Clint should be starting over Gardy, right? Besides that, like I said in the beginning of the year.
No, but it's not that. What it is obviously the Yankees acquire like a Starling Marte, Ketel Marte.
But that's what we're talking about, though, right?
No, but kind of what I'm talking about is if the scenario that we mentioned, right? The Yankees call up a guy like Trey Ambergy to kind of give him a shot in left field and then acquire a center fielder and then have Gardner as the fourth outfielder. I still think that Gardner would take playing time away from Ambergy. I don't think Ambergy would get a legitimate shot with Brett Gardner on this roster. I truly don't.
Yeah, I mean that's fair. It'd probably be the same deal as the Clint situation.
Yeah,
but
it'd be the same Clint situation.
But honestly, though, like at this point when like Ambergy, he's not even up yet, which I know like you and I kind of do want him up right now. He's not even up yet, so like I'm not even worried about like him losing playing time, and we haven't even seen if he can like succeed at the big league level.
Fair.
At least,
but it's like, how can you see if he succeed if he doesn't get the time?
But at least with Clint, like you could make the case, not even make the case, like he has provided offense at the big league level, you know, so you have that going for you. Like Ambergy, like he's playing well in the minors. I think yesterday, didn't he just set like besides the Magic, like set the organizational record for the on base streak or whatever? I think yesterday, or something like that.
He's literally
he's been insane. No, he's been insane. But like, in order for me to like get like upset over the possibility of Gardner taking playing time away from him, Ambergy would have to just be called up and perform for a little bit for me to actually like start like discussing his at bats.
It's fair. He would need the opportunity to do so. But listen, Dan, let's kind of go to a little lighter topic that I think both of us are going to agree on here. Did you see the All-Star game jerseys?
Oh my God, they're disgusting, bro, and it pisses me off, bro.
You know what bothers me? That they're wearing them during the game.
That actually, if they were dope, that wouldn't bother me, to be honest.
No, but they're disgusting, and they have to wear them during the game.
That's annoying, yeah. You know, and for years I was actually like totally like I would have been always cool with them wearing like the actual jerseys during the game, right? And I'm cool both ways. Like I think the them wearing their actual team jerseys fine too, but like bro, they're that's fine with me. Like I don't really have too much of an opinion on it, but like, dude, the jersey is absolutely hideous, and I'm so pissed off, bro, because like, excuse me, I've been looking forward to getting a Judge All-Star jersey this year so bad. And like I have the one from 2017, which is dope. The one from 2018 where they were in Cleveland. And I have that one. I never really wore because they're sleeveless, and at the time I didn't wear sleeveless shirts. But bro, I was so looking forward to getting a dude, because Judge has made the All-Star team since 2018. Not his fault, just because, you know, injuries and whatnot in 2020. I don't think I'm getting a jersey this year. Because they're that ugly. Like it's not even like they're like not good looking to where I could just ignore it. They are hideous.
No, they're
it's like,
hideous. And bro, it's like the wrong Yankee logo on there too.
It reminds me, bro, as if like we're like 15 years old. We just started like a baseball team, and like we get like a Photoshop design that we just downloaded Photoshop, the app, right? And we started like playing around with designs, and that's what we came up with. Like they are horrible looking. Like nothing works. It's not like the color schemes don't even work. Like that's how bad it is. And like, what is the trim? Like, no offense, Pat. The shirt you're wearing is freaking sick, but it looks like they cut off like the trims of your shirt and put it on the jerseys. You know what I'm saying?
It's like tie-dye. I know. It's disgusting. And you know what my theory is? I genuinely think that, you know how the All-Star game was originally scheduled to be in Atlanta? These look like that they were kind of designed for an Atlanta All-Star game. It doesn't look like there's any sort of like Rocky. Bro, I was hoping for maybe like purple and white jerseys. Like, because usually the All-Star game jerseys reflect the team that is hosting the All-Star game. No, like when the Marlins held it, they had like that nice light blue. You remember that? That was a beautiful jersey.
Correct myself. Zohab, sorry for mispronouncing your name. Zohab Mumtaz says it was in DC. I was wrong. It's not in Cleveland. I meant DC. But yeah,
2019 was Cleveland.
Like the 17 jersey was dope. The 18 jersey was dope. I forget what the 19 jersey looked like.
I remember it had like that guitar patch because it was in Cleveland.
I forget. Was 19? Was it in Cleveland? Whatever.
19 was Cleveland. Yeah.
Sure. Dude, the Rockies colors are sick.
I know.
They could have made such a, and like I feel like this is the first year they really messed up. Like they try to make it like too different. Like all the jerseys for the most part in past years have been like dope as hell, but still like a clean, simple design. Like it's like a baseball jersey, you know? Like it should literally just been like a purple jersey, and they could have like the white ones be I don't know, black, or dude, the white ones could have been black. They would have looked so dope. And then just
you had such an opportunity.
And then just have some cool font that's similar to the. You literally could just make a purple jersey / black for the other team, take the Rockies regular font, and then just put like American and National on that, and that would have been a dope ass jersey, bro. Dope jersey.
It's actually stupid, and it just bothers me because usually this isn't something that I get too pissed off about. But like, you know what the jerseys kind of remind me of? 2018 Players Weekend.
18 or 19?
18. No, 19 was. I like 19. The
I thought you were saying because of black and the white.
Well, no. 18 just because it reminds me of like a soccer jersey, bro.
Sure, but I know what you're saying, like from like the logic they put into the jerseys, but like those were still way nicer than these. Way nicer.
Fair. No, fair. That's fair.
And I wasn't a big fan of those players. I wasn't a fan of Players Weekend at all until actually the black and white
Are they
jerseys.
doing it this year?
I haven't heard anything, but
Neither
like
have I.
I don't think like I'm pretty sure we didn't hear anything about like in 17 and 18. I don't think we heard anything about it really until like a couple weeks beforehand, anyways. And it's usually in August, so I'm sure they'll do it. I'm for them doing it as long as the jerseys don't look gross, you know. But I don't know.
See, I kind of saw the pictures of the jerseys this morning, right? When kind of released them. And on my pregame, I was like, well, they're ugly, but like it's not that big of a deal because it's not like they're wearing them during the game, right? How often do you actually see the All-Star game jerseys and like the pregame warm-ups and the home run derby? But like now that they're actually wearing them during the game, now it just bothers me a little bit that we have to see them so much more. That's kind of the bottom line.
See, that's where I totally will agree with you because like I just said, like I don't really have an opinion either way. Like I'm cool with them wearing them in game, but like these jerseys like that.
The 1 year.
Yeah,
the 1 year.
Facts. Like the 1 year they're going to wear them in game, you put the ugly, dude, not even just like MLB, like the ugliest jerseys I've ever seen from any sport, any organization, any level of like bro, going to like Pop Warner all the way up to Olympic jerseys to MLB jerseys. These are the ugliest jerseys I've ever seen in my life.
It's stupid. It's stupid. But I guess kind of since we're on the All-Star game trend here, right? Dan, are you upset that Judge isn't in the home run derby? Because I'm ecstatic that he's not.
I kind
of like how he said like he's not going to be in it unless it's in Yankee Stadium. I was talking about this the other day. Yankee Stadium needs to hold an All-Star game like sometime soon. They haven't held one in the new Yankee Stadium. They didn't in the old stadium in the final year in 2008. I would love for the All-Star game to come to the Bronx. Bro, imagine like a home run derby in Yankee Stadium.
Oh, it'd be sick. And that's what he said. You know, he's not going to consider it until it comes back in New York, which I wonder if that also opens like the possibility up for if it went to Citi Field, which they've had the All-Star game more recently than Yankee Stadium, but I'm not sure if I'm not sure if he meant just New York or I think 2013.
Yeah.
Or just Yankee Stadium. But no, that would be sick. But also too, you know, like last time we had it was 2008, the last year the old Yankee Stadium. So do the math. What is that? There's been like, was that 14 years ago? 13, whatever it is. So like that means there's 30 minus 13. What is that? So there's 17 other teams as well that could, you know, get it before us. But I do hope that, you know, in the decade of 2020s, we'll get it back in Yankee Stadium. And then hopefully when Judge is still in his prime, like that would be an absolute show.
Great vlog content too, by the way.
Oh my God. Yeah. Content. And listen, if Judge didn't win it in 17, I might like not care more, but like kind of hope he would do it soon. But like he already won, like who really cares? You know, I don't want to take a chance of him because remember, I know you know this, but like he hurt his shoulder, he banked it up a little bit in 2017, and that's what led on to that's why he had that terrible.
He didn't.
I know it was insane because he had that horrible month of August. He had like 187 with only 3 homers, and then in September he had his best month of that year, which not very few people realize that. They say Judge didn't finish the season strong. He had his best month in 2017 in September. He hit like 315, 15 home runs, drove in 32 runs. So say August he said like a regular Judge month like he did every other month that season, he legitimately probably could have hit 60 home runs. Like he probably would have. Or
for sure.
He would have came as close to like Stanton did. He would have had like more than 57, 58 home runs.
Fair enough.
So I'm cool with Judge not being in the All-Star game for that reason.
Fair enough. I agree with you like 100%. But kind of like going back to the Yankees here, right? Like we mentioned, huge series this weekend against Boston. Dan, there's one guy, I think you know where I'm going, who returned to the lineup this week that I think like no one really talked about when it happened, right? Just because like, oh, we knew Luke Voit was returning to the lineup, but it wasn't as big of a deal just because the whole talk was Gary not being in the lineup on Tuesday, right? But I think
I'll tell you, I talked about it. I did talk about it. Oh, yeah. Voit coming back was big, but yeah.
No, yeah. I think that we kind of need to acknowledge how important Luke Voit is to this team, not only offensively, because the Yankees' first basemen were the worst in the league. We're talking a combination of like Jay Bruce, Mike Ford, Chris Gittens, DJ LeMahieu. Like they were just not getting any production from that first base position, a position where you're supposed to get your maximum production. So now that Luke Voit's back, he's raking off rip, which I wasn't expecting, to be honest with you. I wasn't expecting him to come off the IL and just rake like this. Not only that production.
Usually when you come off the IL, you have like the classic IL rush.
Exactly. And not only the production that we're getting, but that energy we're getting back in the clubhouse in the form of Luke Voit, bro. We know that he's one of the leaders in that clubhouse, and I think he came back at the perfect time for this Yankees team.
I think it's so huge for this team. Like you said, not even just like the offensive performance, but like, bro, like from the leadership aspect. I think, and I just started to realize this recently, like this weekend, or not this weekend, this past couple days of him being back. Like I think the Yankees have two different types of leaders in their clubhouse. One is obviously Aaron Judge, who's very Jeter-like, leads by example, right? And then they have like that, how to describe it, like Voit. He just like, just like that badass vibe of like he has like the like he'll give you the quote where Judge won't, that is
Yeah,
badass as hell. And I tweeted this out yesterday. He had such a good quote that honestly gave me chills. Like he brought up how he's like, I know first base production for this team has been like we've lacked it this year, and that's all my fault for not being here. So I knew I had to come here and do damage.
for sure.
And so far, bro, he's played what 3 games? Like from the very first, that was dope. The very first pitch, going deep with an absolute bomb. And
bro,
then
we have so many good highlights for the World Series film.
oh, dude, absolutely.
It's crazy.
And side note, did you see the graphic Yes put up yesterday? You know we're second in baseball in comeback victories this year?
Yeah, which is
But
crazy
I
to
know,
think
it's
about.
insane. Which
We're
like you
probably
could
number
twist
one
it,
in heartbreaking losses too. though.
yeah, like you could twist it in like a bad way where it's just like, oh, we're always down in games, it seems, and we very rarely have like laughers. But that's something to be said for that we're we're second with 20 comeback wins this year. But anyways, back to Voit. Like, and I'm just thinking about it now, bro. He had an incredible series from that first home run that he hit, and then the walk-off hit last night, which I thought that was gone off the bat. He did
Same.
too. He did the finger
Yeah,
thing,
yeah.
which reminds me of our first time hanging out, Pat,
Oh
2018
my
wildcard game.
god.
Good
I
ass
thought
time.
that was gone too.
Me too. I thought that one was even more gone
Same.
because that was a short porch. Or would have been a short porch job. And then had that homer today. Like, dude, like this really could have been what we've been missing. Not even just from like the offense that he provides, but just like the overall vibe he provides. Luke Voigt coming back is huge.
1000%. And if we're kind of talking about like those leaders in the clubhouse, like you mentioned, how we have like so many different personalities, this might be a hot take. This might be recency bias, but I think after the Yankees win the World Series this year, which I think they will, we're kind of going to look back on this team and be like, wow, like I don't think we actually appreciated like at the time, like all the different personalities that we had come together as just like a unit that kind of combined as like the Justice League, bro.
Because now we can look at it and have fun with it. Like nobody, like I'm not going to blame anybody for calling this team boring over the first couple months of the season. And there's still times where they'll have boring games going forward, but like right now, like take a look at the lineup. Like this is a lineup, bro. That, like, like the lineups we should refer to as like the death lineup. Like we're in a position now where we could be consistently getting those, and like,
and you can only improve with a trade or something.
Exactly. And like we have some entertaining ass dudes on this team, especially when they're hitting well, and it seems like that's what guys are doing right now. Like I don't know the numbers on DJ, but it seems like at least his approach and like the way he's hitting the ball lately seems to be a little bit better. Judge hopefully getting hot now. Gary, we talked about that at length. Stanton seems to be, he had a 3-hit day. He's been hitting the ball. Like he's been kind of consistent lately in the sense of like he has like 2 to 3 like really solid games, and he has one game where he looks absolutely lost. And then Voit, bro, like just imagine if we can get Glaber going, dude.
Did you mention Gary?
I did. No, I said.
Oh, okay.
We talked about at length. There's not much more I can add on. I'm just saying it's been insane. Yeah.
But that's exactly what I'm saying, bro. Like you look at like the production and then the personalities, right? You look at Aaron Judge, like you mentioned, he's kind of like that humble captain. You look at Luke Voigt, he's the guy who's going to rile everyone up. You look at Rougned Odor, he might not always provide the best value on the field, but he'll get you a clutch hit. And when the Yankees hit a big home run, he'll easily be the first one out of the dugout to like give the guy some congratulations. And then you have Garrett Cole, who's the killer. He's one of like the few guys on the Yankees that I could genuinely say has like that Mamba mentality, killer instinct, bro. Like he just wants to win at all costs.
Cole is definitely that guy that like you can't talk. If you're a teammate, you can't talk to him on like start day. Like he definitely just like let me keep to myself. Like Cole, I would say to me, he is the most similar pitcher right now to Max Scherzer in terms of personality and like that bulldog mentality, and it's not talking about like performance or just statistics. As Jacob deGrom, he is far and away the best pitcher in baseball, right? But like there's like a different attitude, like if you combined Jacob deGrom and Garrett Cole, like bro, like that would just be like the greatest pitcher of all time, just from like the performance standpoint. And just like the attitude that Cole has, bro. Like he's an absolute bulldog. And every time we watch him pitch, bro, like I think you do this too. Like I'm so grateful that he's a Yankee.
I'm enamored.
Grateful.
Imagine
like
if we didn't have him.
I know. Oh my God. He represents the pinstripes so well. And I'm big on that. Like I feel like he takes pride in being a Yankee. Like there's certain players that just like you can tell wear the pinstripes in a different way, like metaphorically. And when I see the pinstripes on Garrett Cole, like I feel like that is the representation of the New York Yankees pitching staff. That right there. You know what I'm saying?
That's a great way of describing it. Like, no joke. You kind of look at this team, and also I think another guy that we kind of have to mention that I think goes kind of under the limbo stick a lot of the times. Bro, Zach Britton. He's a leader in that clubhouse. I know he's not kind of like the most vocal, but I think the fact that he's also like the Yankees players union rep also just kind of goes to say a lot. Like he's a leader in that clubhouse. He's only been around since 2018, but he's also one of those guys. So I think the point that we're trying to make here is going down the stretch. Obviously, the Yankees do need to acquire, whether it be like a starting pitcher or an outfielder. I think right now, though, they have a solid group of guys that can carry them to a point that's good enough to keep them in the hunt until they add like that one or two pieces to really put them over that hump.
For sure. And like, this is something that I think I tweeted out a couple weeks ago when things weren't going well, but like every season that's fun, that like we look back at, that's fun, has like a storyline to it, right? Like 2017, nobody expected us to do anything. We were the underdogs and we went to game 7 of the ALCS. 2019, everybody and their mom got hurt and we still ended up getting through that, won 103 games, got to the ALCS. This year, bro, like the story very well could be that we got out of the gates really slow. Worse really than 09, but we had a bad first month in 09. Everybody talks about it. A-Rod came back and saved the day, right? This, like, you could look at it, the season's like changed, like in the Buffalo series, for example, right? What is that? Middle of June? That is quite the story, bro. And that's how the season could turn into one of the more fun seasons that we've had in a long time, when we went from thinking like, listen, a good portion of this fan base, bro, and they still probably do, wanted the Yankees to sell at the deadline. That's certainly not happening. Someone's calling me right now.
We were debating it. It was a very reasonable debate.
I was never for it, but that just shows like position this season was in. You know, like things were not looking good. And then, listen, we're still like technically not in a playoff spot right now, so I don't want to get ahead of myself. But like, you know what I'm saying? Just from the standpoint of
they're trending in the right direction.
Like,
though.
Yeah, they are. Like that could be. This season could turn really fun if we go on a run. Really fun, because it all just comes down to when you're not expecting it and you do get it, like you do make the playoffs and you do play well, it's more fun than anything. Like that's why 2018
1000%.
wasn't all that fun in a way. Like you look back at 2018, like we kind of just did what we were supposed to do. We just won 100 games. Like
we started off a little bit slow though.
That was like a week or two, really. I mean,
we had about the month of April, I would say.
Nah, that was like we had like the first 2 weeks were rough. You know, like we had that bad series in Boston, and then we went on that crazy like 19-2 stretch. Whatever. The what's the word I'm looking for? I forget. But like when things are going against you, what's that word? The
adversity.
Adversity. The adversity we faced in 2018 was nothing compared to like that we faced so far this year and struggling. 19 with injuries and 17 with just being like not expected to do anything. Basically, what I'm saying is that's what makes the season fun. And if we end up making a run this year, it could be one of the more fun seasons we've seen in a while.
I agree. And chat, never forget, every single night on these post games when the Yankees would have a brutal loss, I would tell you guys that the Yankees are still winning the World Series, and I'm sticking with that. I'm sticking by that until they get eliminated from the playoffs. But Dan, the kind of last major topic I want to hit on today is a guy who's kind of struggled significantly this season, and not only this season, but last year as well. We haven't seen the real Gleyber Torres since 2019. And at what point do we kind of start to get concerned about him? Because at the beginning of the year, when we were kind of not seeing Gleyber perform too well, and then he picked it up in May and just we saw like contact Gleyber. I was like, listen, I'll be satisfied with Gleyber Torres if we see him hit like 280 this season and he only hits like 15 to 20 home runs. I'll take contact Gleyber Torres. But now in the month of June, he's worse than he was in April to start off the year. And we're not seeing contact Gleyber or power Gleyber. He's like somewhere in between, but isn't producing in either fashion. So at what point do we start to become concerned with like this lack of production for the past 2 years?
Yeah, the way I see it is I'm going to give him through, in terms of like labeling him as, I don't see a bust, but like a bust in terms of like not being what we expected, even just from 2019, right? Like I'll give him through the end of the 2021 season because still there's a lot of baseball left to be played. But you mentioned it, like you said, you'd be cool with like a 280 Gleyber Torres, like 20 or something home runs.
Yeah.
Bro, at this point, like it's looking like he may not even hit 250. He may not even hit 10 home runs this year, you know? And a lot of people have pointed this out, like in the analytics community, that a big problem with Gleyber Torres is that he's technically making contact more, not really going for base hits, but it's like he's striking out less, right? And a lot of times what hitters will try to do when they're trying to strike out less is they hit for less power because you're swinging with like, I guess like you don't want to have as much risk with your swing, so you're not hitting long balls, right? So his contact rate is up, but his power rate is like dramatically down. And like, how many home runs does he have? Like 3? Is that what he has? Something like that?
Yeah, I think
like it's not even like bro,
3.
If Gleyber Torres, like coming off of 2019, if he only had like 10 home runs right now, like that wouldn't be concerning, but it'd be like, yo, what's up with Gleyber Torres? Where does power go? Right? He has 3 home runs, you know, and like thank God his defense has improved because I mean, like things would be a lot worse for Gleyber right now within the community, like bashing him wise, if his defense wasn't like I don't say as good as it is, but it hasn't been terrible, really. You know, he has those games where he's not
improved,
good, but it's improved significantly, honestly. So at least it's the first like couple weeks of the season. But yo, he's really got to figure it out. And if he doesn't figure it out after this year, Only reason I
Yankees
wouldn't
have an
want
interesting decision to
I
make
was
in
gonna say
all
I was gonna
season.
say the only reason I wouldn't want to trade him is because his value is so low and you hope he can go back up. So I'm
Yeah.
not saying like he's gone after this year, but like let's just say he doesn't really show too much signs of being like the 2019 Gleyber Torres. If there's a trade package on the table for Gleyber Torres and like it's worth it, I'm giving him up no problem.
Yeah, it really just sucks because I want to bring up this comment here from Jonathan. He says Glaber can't see the ball well. He needs to get his eyes checked. I've seen some people bring up this narrative, right? That Glaber kind of needs to go back to the
But
glasses.
no, but
However,
those were not
no.
prescription though.
No, but what I'm saying is also like in the same sense here. If Gleyber Torres couldn't really see the ball well, I think his strikeouts would be up a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think his contact rate would be up as much as it is so far this season. But shout out to Marcus Brown with the $3 dono. Appreciate you, Marcus. He says letting Didi go is a mistake. I disagree. I stand by the fact that even though we love Didi Gregorius and he's kind of like what the Yankees are missing right now, there was no space on him for this team. However, I'll say this, and I've said this in the past. I don't think the mistake was letting Didi go. I think the mistake was letting Didi go and not finding a replacement or someone
That's
better
very
than Didi
fair.
Gregorius to put in the lineup.
Listen, I'm with you on this. There's a couple things I can say about Didi. One, take a look at how he's performing this year. He's like one of the few guys that has like a significant negative WAR so far this year. There's two ways you can go with this. One is that people like over glorify Didi's years with the Yankees, especially the last couple ones,
Of course.
way too much. On the other side, a lot of people do forget how good he was from 2017 to 2018. We're talking about a shortstop that put up back-to-back 4+ WAR seasons. That is very good, right? 2019 wasn't very good at all. You can give him the benefit of the doubt. He was coming off Tommy John surgery, right? I will say the mistake or what I kind of like miss about Didi or the Yankees lost with Didi isn't necessarily Didi's performance and how good of a shortstop he was or how good of an offensive bat he was. Losing like a shortstop that's better than Gleyber Torres and also a left-handed bat. Like that stings. That's unfortunate. The Yankees, like you said, didn't go out and get a replacement shortstop that was good on defense, better than Gleyber Torres. And just like the fact that our lineup is so right-handed heavy right now, like it makes you think like Didi was the reason why our lineup is lacking lineup balance. I kind of equate it to like
Hicks too.
For sure, yeah, and that's another thing too. Like people see like how bad Hicks was this season, and he was actually starting to pick it up a little bit before he got hurt. The loss of Hicks is huge because I'm almost positive that by now, if Hicks stayed healthy and was playing every day, I'm sure his average probably would have at least been up to 220 on base, maybe close to 350, and that's valuable. And like the way I see with Didi is like some people kind of like treat it like the same way some might treat like an ex-girlfriend that you weren't that happy with at the time, but you look back and you think you were happy with. So like
damn.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's kind of like that. And I hate saying that because once again, Didi had some good years with the Yankees, some very good years. 17, 18, he was really good. But like, listen, like
2019 was rough.
100%, and like what I'm saying is like whatever was going on with the Yankees and like why they, weren't the same team. I'm not talking about right now because they're looking good, but like what's been wrong with the Yankees, trust me, it's not because Didi Gregorius isn't here.
I agree 1,000%. I think kind of if you look at the Yankees mentality at the time when they did let Didi go, you had Gleyber Torres coming off the best season of his career that we couldn't have imagined he would have fallen off the face.
And let me ask you on this real, in 2019 when Didi wasn't there for the first couple months and Gleyber was playing shortstop, he played a good shortstop.
Exceptional.
Yeah.
His numbers were better at shortstop than they were at second base. So, I mean, you were kind of looking at Gleyber Torres coming off a ridiculous season where he almost had 40 home runs, and the future was so bright for him. We didn't think that we were going to have any problems moving him to shortstop. DJ LeMahieu was going to be the Yankees' second baseman, and the infield was set. There was no space for Didi Gregorius at all. So I think the issue looking back is hindsight's always 2020. And I still think if I had the opportunity to kind of sign Didi Gregorius, I still wouldn't. I'm sorry. I still wouldn't.
That's fair. And listen, I just thought about this. And I think you're a big proponent, or you would have been, of this. I'm sure if when we let Didi go, we signed Michael Brantley, Didi's name would hardly ever have come up in conversations about. I know like you're big on Michael Brantley. I don't know if me and you have talked about it too many times, but like it's just like what people really miss is like that solid left-handed bat. And another thing too is there was like Didi. He provided like he made the clubhouse so fun. Look back like when Didi was with the Yankees, like how much fun it seemed like they were having. Well, coincidentally, when Didi was on the team, they just happened to be winning 100 games a year. You have a lot of fun when you're winning 100 games a year. And you could also say Didi was a big part of that. But like, no, you can't deny the talent that's on this team. And I'm sure, say like the season started right now, like if this series against the Royals was like April 1st, this Yankee team would probably go on to win 90 plus games. I'm that confident in how good they were. So that's a big part of it. Like I think people are a little too attached to Didi, and overall, some people get a little bit too attached to the 2017 team. They got very hot at the right time. Me too, 100%.
Yeah.
But some people act like that team was better than any, like the 2018 and the 2019 team. Like that's simply not true. You can say you had more fun watching that team. We all did because nothing was expected of them. But like do you want Chase Headley back too? You know, like
No, exactly. I think
it's almost like the same. It's the same, exactly. And that's like,
yeah.
I don't blame them for it, but it's like you kind of got to like dig deeper into it and think like, what do you really miss? You know, you miss like the team winning, and right now, not right now, but you know what I'm saying. Like this season, like hasn't been the same as past years, and they think that's because Didi Gregorius isn't here, which is silly.
Exactly. But Dan, I think that's gonna wrap things up. Unless there's anything that you want to hit on before we do.
I mean, Aaron Judge is back, so I don't really got to talk too much about that.
Fair, bro. So is Gary Sanchez. I think the Yankees are turning in a right direction going into this Boston series. Hopefully, they take 2 out of 3.
Let me say one last thing. Yeah, it all really it either starts or stops with the Red Sox series. Like the Renaissance of the 2021 Yankees. Like it all really like we've all made jokes in a way like the season begins tomorrow. Like the season like legitimately feels like it begins tomorrow.
Means everything.
You know?
It means
and I'm gonna try not to get like,
start.
If we lose game 1, I'm gonna try not to get too riled up. And I told myself this after the first game in Kansas City. You know, like I think back to like the Oakland series. Like, listen, okay, if we lose game 1, there's still 2 games left, and one of them we got Garrett Cole on the mound. So hopefully we win tomorrow, right? But if we don't, let's not lose our cool. There's 2 games left. Just bottom line is just make sure you take at least 2 out of 3.
1,000%.
And maybe sweep.
If you sweep this, the World Series is so bad.
Like, Pat, I'm hitting you up. I'm like, which hotel are we staying at?
Oh yeah,
for the parade?
Oh yeah,
you know.
But yeah, no, we'll make our parade plans on Sunday if the Yankees sweep. But with that being said, appreciate you all for stopping by. You guys know the deal. Pat and Dan Show. This is episode 2. Really do appreciate all the support you guys have given the show so far. Be sure to follow up all of our socials, Pat and Dan Show, on just about everything. We're going live Monday and Thursday after every single Yankees game, and if it's an off day, we'll be going live at 9 p.m. So stay tuned for all those episodes. Yeah, Dan?
Oh yeah, let me 1 second. But there's also speaking of like the schedule, there was a scheduling conflict almost, bro. I almost thought I couldn't make it today, but I'm here now. I'm kidding. I was definitely gonna be here. We're always gonna be here every Monday, every Thursday. I was it threw me off with the 1 o'clock game today. But also too, I just want to plug. There's always a produced version of the show that goes up the next day on the Dan and Pat Show channel. So
the link is in the description.
It is
okay.
Link in the description. Go and subscribe to that. I think we're already almost at 100 subscribers. The first episode did very well on the new channel. I already got like 500 something views. So like the produced version is like this show with clips as well. Yep, it'll just be like highlights, B-roll, stats showing up on the screen. So like if you enjoyed this, you'll enjoy the produced version even more. That's on the Pat and Dan channel. That'll be up tomorrow. Typically around like 12. It'll be up. So yeah.
Once again, appreciate you all for stopping by. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn on post notifications for more. We're going live, like I said, every Monday, every Thursday after the Yankees game or at 9 p.m. if the Yankees are off. Also, I will see you guys tomorrow for the Yankees pregame at 6 p.m. Eastern time on this channel. We're going live. Also, video going up on the channel tomorrow at 12 p.m. You guys know the deal. Stay happy, stay healthy, stay safe. Let's go Yankees. Let's sweep Boston this weekend.
Let's go. Peace everybody.